Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hello? Anybody out there? This is messed up. I'm running my own radio show now. All I have is voice. Oh my Lord. I don't know how to get this camera to work. It's probably just as well. I look the same way I did like the last time I did this. I don't know how to import anything into these little boxes that they have. And I don't know why XSplit Broadcaster is showing. Right? Is that like a conflict between the two servers? Because I should technically be logged out of XSplit Broadcaster. I logged out. Right. How do you share a screen? What's this? StreamYard wants to share the content onto your screen. Let's put share. Share audio. Your entire. Oh, God. You can't even share. Hold on. What's this? Oops. Okay, can you see that? All right, we're on a roll. Don't ask me what I did. So what happens is if I click that out, then I don't get audio. And I can't see my chat right now. If there's a chat going on, I don't see it. I don't know what I'm looking at. I have to go on to YouTube. I have to go on YouTube to say hello through the chat itself. Obviously, we're looking at Shmei here. I wanted to do something else too. Hold on. Let's see if I can do it. But I don't remember how I did it. Let's do this one. So I guess that's me. Well, this is kind of limited. I'd say more so. I don't know. I'm stuck. I don't even know how to put this little camcorder on myself. Like how do they import the camera? I don't know. Okay, well, that's gone now. I swear I have to take notes. It's not what I want. All right, Well, let's just see here. Okay. We got that moving. Oh. All right. What am I looking for? I just saved it. And of course, I can't find it now, right? Oh, it's in pink. Hold on. How do I get into paint? Oh, my lordy, lordy, lordy. Where did I save it? This is more interactive. I like that. So that's good. I just don't know what I did here. So I'm going to just maybe pull it up this way. Save as. It's in. We'll put it on the desktop. Save. Hold on a minute. Where am I? I'm sleeping at the wheel here, people. Getting tired. Here it is. Oops. What happened? That's not what I want. Can't open it. How about this? No, not doing anything.
You want some curry, Mom?
No, thank you. I'm doing a live right now.
Sorry.
That's okay. You didn't know. No, thank you.
What are you doing now? Oh, sure.
All right, let's see what happens. I don't know if you heard that. So how do we play the video? Well, you're getting a bird's eye onto my desktop. Oh, jeez. Little birdies.
What are you talking about now?
Nana's trying to learn how to use a new program, and I'm not doing very good with it. No, just go eat your food.
What do you mean, know what?
Andre, please go eat your food.
Well, can I go into
No, I said.
Oh, you meant no that.
Yeah.
I just said no laptop.
No laptop. Hmm. Well, we got that part to work. I don't have earbuds. I have DJ headphones. All right. Well, this is exciting. Okay. Don't give up. Kind of small. I don't think anybody can read that. Oops. Where did it go? Well, that's odd. Maybe if I change the, what is it called? Resolution on it. Well, properties. How can we just resize it? There you go. See, you're learning too many things at one time and it messes with your head. Not changing on me. Stop sharing. Exit out of that. Don't. Okay, so now you got me. So on this one, I should be able to invite people to participate. I'm noticing it's flashing. The last couple of lives that I did, what do you call it? They weren't flashing. So where's the problem? Is it with the server, the live stream server, or is it with YouTube? Because last two streams, there was none of this, but okay. What to do, what to do, what to do. These pulling up these some screens let you share audio. Look for share audio checkbox in the next window. Okay, I'm going to try and share an audio here. I hear it, but you probably don't. You have to move all your windows around or something. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. Okay. Now you can actually read it. Andre?
Yeah?
Turn it. I don't want to hear it. Hold on, people, just for a minute, please. Yeah, man. No, just check up on the baby, man. Yeah, man. All right, man.
You look weird.
Hey, let's get serious. What are we looking at? Whew. This is a British Columbia law that's current. Using this program might be better to have 2 computers running at one time. And that's because if I open up the link for this, here, where is it? I'll put the link in. I can't bring it down. And I need, it's like an octopus. I need like more than 2 eyes to be able to navigate between the different sections of this. So in other words, if I bring up this page, what I just put a link to, what's going to end up happening is I don't get to see anything else. Now, maybe well, that would be awfully small for me to read, but I don't know if I can link this in from. Share this tab. Hold on a minute. Sharing this tab. Am I sharing it? Hold on a minute. Maybe I'm already doing it. Okay, let me see. I am. All right, so we'll start from the beginning. Yeah, man. Definition: in this act, consent means a consent given under this act. Tissue includes an organ but does not include skin, bone, blood. Blood constitutes or other tissues that is replaceable by natural processes of repair. Transplant means the removal of tissues from a human body, whether living or dead. And its implantation in a living human body. Writing for part 2 includes a will and any other testamentary instrument, whether or not probate has been applied for or granted, and whether or not the will or other testamentary instrument is valid. Andre, what did I ask you to do? I was here first. Go take it to the playroom and go play now.
You did not say that.
Andre?
I just want to get a cup of water first.
Part 1, gifts for transplants while donor alive. You heard that, right? So they're acknowledging that the donor is alive. They say it right there, black and white, up in your face. Transplants under Act are lawful. 2, a transplant from one living human body to another living human body may be done in accordance with this act, but not otherwise. In other words, from kidney to kidney. So that's, I guess, what they mean by alive. There's not too many organs that you can take from somebody's body while they are alive, and that person can continue to live without the organ. Consent for transplant. A person, 3.1, a person who has reached age 19 is mentally competent to consent and is able to make a free and informed decision, may sign a consent to the removal at once from the person's body of the tissue specified in the consent and its implantation in the body of another living person. 2, despite subsection 1, consent given by the person who has not reached age 19 was not mentally incompetent to consent or was not able to make a free and informed decision is valid for this act if the person who acted on it had no reason to believe that the person who gave it had not reached age 19, was not mentally competent to consent, and was not able to make a free and informed decision, as in the case may be. Did you understand that, people? Yeah, man. I think in this case, with this particular stream, live stream service provider, I'd want a secondary computer. Because I can't see the chat unless I actually exit out what I was just reading and, like bring up another page and right. I'm working between 3 pages here. I'm working between on the learning curve, the actual YouTube page, which is what I'm looking at right now that's being uploaded to YouTube. And then I've got the StreamYard, the dashboard that I'm working with in terms of bringing up these files. And then I've got the actual website that I'm sharing in terms of what I'm reading from. So I've got 3 active pages, right? And then if I bring up the one that I'm reading, I can't see nothing else. So that's why I'd want a secondary computer beside me when I would use this particular service provider. However, they're flashing. So why is that? Because I made a mental note that the last 2 lives that I did, they weren't flashing. Is that directly related to the actual, because the stream, the live stream provider, right? Is that going, because what happens is through this provider here, when you upload your stream, it's going into their server first, and then they filter it, and then they stream it to YouTube so that the stream that you're putting out from your end isn't as heavy in bandwidth, because they redivert it and they reformat it where it should be fluent, and you shouldn't be getting this flashing. You shouldn't be, because that should be that is supposed to be being done on their end. Well, I don't know very much. I just got frustrated with XSplit today. It was frustrating with the sound. I still can't get a video to play at this point. I got this page up, but of course, a lot of what I'm doing is just clicking. So because I'm clicking, I'm not remembering everything that I'm doing. So if I want to go back and do it again, I'm having to re-click, because it's not like I need to take notes, right? Because of, I'm pressure and, I'm learning all these different things. I'm tired and, and my eyes are the big one too, right? So, but if you don't go through the process, you won't learn, right? So that's why we're on the learning curve right now. Yeah, man. We're on the learning curve, man. With a little bit of a recap. And that's why I brought up an actual act that applies to the province of British Columbia, Canada, in relation to organ donation, being that that's the subject that I was talking about this morning, right? So I'm going to continue to read here for a bit. Like I've already forewarned some of these people that watch this channel, you might get bored with this stuff, right? Because it can get pretty grueling. It can get really, really grueling, especially when they start twisting their words around, because I'd have to take the time. I'm not going to do it right now, people, but I'd have to take the time if I really wanted to sit down and reread it a couple times over so that I fully understand exactly what they were trying to say there. Anyway, we're still on number 3, right? Okay, consent given under this section is full authority for a medical practitioner to make any examination necessary to assure medical acceptability of the tissue specified, and B, immediately remove that tissue from the body of the person who gave the consent. Immediately remove? What's the rush? because this consent is coming from a living person. This is a kidney being transplanted into another. This is like a me with my kidney, because you have two of them, and I decide to give away one of my kidneys through donation to whoever, right? The doctor has to examine me, make sure I'm okay and that I can do that, physically. And then they immediately, right after they say, yeah, green light, you're good to go, they have to remove that tissue. Yeah, man. If for any reason the tissue specified in the consent is not removed in the circumstances to which the consent relates, the consent is void. Okay, now I'm just telling you what I'm going through. Just telling you what I'm going through here, okay? This is where I need that second computer here, because I'm having to switch pages to be able to see what people are. I know, yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm starting a revolution. I'm the ex-solution, yeah, man. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Blood clot. Yeah, man. So anyway, let me read what people computers eyes and the technology changes. Love the hat, yeah, man. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to reading here. Where was I? Part 2, gifts for transplants when donor dies. See, I'm listening to myself when I should just keep on talking, right? So anyway, consent by person for use of body after death. A person, 4-1. A person who has reached age 19 may consent, Yaman, right? A, in writing, signed by the person at any time. Trust me, get it notarized. Whatever you think you're doing, have it notarized. And again, take a couple copies and give them to your loved ones in safekeeping. Okay. B, orally in the presence of at least 2 witnesses during the person's last illness. There's that slippery slope, people, that the person's body or parts of it specified in the consent to be used after the person's death for the therapeutic purposes, medical education, or scientific research. Which one did Shimei apply to? Was it for therapeutic purposes, medical education, or scientific research in terms of any kind of consent that she may or may not have given? Because she didn't give any consent, people, for anything, okay? So when I read this stuff, to me, it's just full of rhetoric. It's a forked tongue with it veering off way off there into left fucking field that, yeah, man.
You're gonna have this rest on full.
All right. I'll eat Brussels. I'm busy.
You're welcome, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome.
Okay. 4-2. Despite subsection 1, consent given by a person who had not reached age 19 is valid for this act if the person who acted on it had no reason to believe that the person who gave it had not reached age 19. Okay, that tells me, now I may be interpreting this wrong, because this is the first time I've read this, that somebody else can speak on behalf of the the one that's underage, and just say, well, after everything's been cut out and blah, 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 I didn't know that they weren't 19. I mean, that's very, loose, don't you think? Am I interpreting that correctly? Despite subsection 1, consent given by a person who had not reached age 19 is valid for this act if the person who acted on it had no reason to believe that the person who gave it had not reached age 19. So you have two 18-year-olds out partying. I'll just use this as an example. One overdoses and dies. Ambulance come and rushed both up to the hospital, and the other 18-year-old that survived gives consent to have the organs taken out. Like, how does that work? Because the one who died that was under 19, they can't give this. Somebody else is giving them consent to take out the organs of the person that was underage that died. The parent? It doesn't say parent. If the person who acted on it had no reason to believe that the person who gave it, she told me on her dying breath that she wanted to donate her organs. I am witness to that. So that stands. Do you see how easy it is for somebody just to come in, Yaman, and interject themselves with a story that could basically override the family's wishes by simply saying, I didn't know that they were underage? I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading it correctly. Okay? This is why you really have to reread these things. Number 3. On the death of a person who has given a consent under this section, the consent is binding and is full authority for the use of the body or the removal and use of the specific parts for the purpose specified. 4. Despite subsection 3, a person must not act on a consent given under this section if the person has reason to believe that it was subsequently withdrawn unless the consent was contained in a valid will of the deceased. Despite subsection 3, a person must not act on a consent given under this section if the person has reason to believe that it was subsequently withdrawn unless the consent was contained in a valid will of the deceased. So what are we getting into? The Patient Property Act people, the Power of Attorney Act people, right? Because it doesn't boil down just to one act, okay? There's other acts that interlock with each other. Consent by spouse, or others for use of body after death. Five one. If a person of any age who has not given a consent under Section 4 dies, or in the opinion of a medical practitioner is incapable of giving a consent by reason of injury or disease, and the person's death is imminent. A, the person's spouse of any age. So these are the people who can give consent if the person who was injured can't, regardless of their age. B, if none or if the person's spouse is not readily, key word people, readily available, any one of the person's children who has attained the age of majority. C, but don't forget, they can come in and override this legislation with another legislation that takes away the, what is it called? Oh, see, you got to get into those legislations. Something to do with consent. C, if none is readily available, any of the person's parents. So they put the spouse first, children second, then the parents. If none is readily available, any one of the person's brothers or sisters who has attained the age of majority. Then it's siblings. If none is readily available, any other of the person's next of kin who have attained the age of majority, cousins, uncles, aunts. Or F, if none is readily available, the person lawfully in possession of the body. What, the police? Other than if the person died in hospital, the administrative head of the hospital. So they directly appoint the administrative head of the hospital if there are no other family members available to deal with the Jane Doe or John Smith body. I mean, you'd be a lonely soul in there, right? If nobody stepped up to the plate to claim your body. So then it goes by default to the administrator of the hospital. And just remember, it's a checkered legislation throughout every province and state, where it not only checkered between the provinces and states in terms of as to what time they, before they can, take out the organs from the point from what we're talking from here, but the various hospitals also go about their own schedule and pretty much do as they please, because for as fine as these words sound, there's no governing body that scours the halls looking for criminals to make sure that these laws that are written are followed. Yaman. May consent. G. In writing signed by the spouse, relative, or other person. H. Orally by the spouse, relative, or other person in the presence of at least two witnesses. Or I. By telegraph, recorded, telephonic, or other recorded message of the spouse, relative, or other person to the body or party of it specified in the consent being used after death for therapeutic purposes, medical education, or scientific research. So they don't want your body just for, to take out organs, but they want it for, medical education. Like I said, did they embalm Shimei to teach foreign students how to embalm a body by penny pinching and doing it illegally through a hospital setting when it should have been through its own segregated college for that particular reason? Because from my understanding, it is illegal to embalm bodies in the province of British Columbia, Canada, Yaman. That is being done through the funeral homes and maybe through a special college where they actually educate young people to do that sort of stuff. And then when it comes to scientific research, I don't have it up right now, and I don't know how to pronounce the name, but they've got, and BC seems to cater to it. They've got embalming procedures that can put a body in a pose and show all their muscles, and and they got them playing baseball and doing somersaults, and they've taken off all the skin, and you can actually see the muscles as to how, when you move the body, what happens to the muscles and how they pull and stuff like that. And they have a whole expedition around this, people. Is that the scientific research that we're talking about? A fucking freak show? Pinching the neck up, well, the rest down there is something else, but the person themselves are dead. Like, these people, it's so much rhetoric. So much rhetoric, people. I think that's the most discouraging part for me, Yaman, is the fact that I'm going to go through this and rack my brains. I'm going to bring in more legislation. You'll see how they interlap over each other. And it all sounds rosy. It all sounds legit. But when you get out into the real world and you deal with these people that are supposed to know this stuff but refuse to follow it, because it doesn't just start and stop with the one act. Now you're going to be looking for regulations, right? This is just an act. There's regulations around this act. And then there's mandates around this act. And then there's other acts that merge themselves in. And that's how they build in these loopholes to commit crimes, right, people? All right. So anyway, let's carry on. We'll just read this. A person must not give a consent under this section if the person has reason to believe that the person who died or whose death is imminent would have objected to it. So what? Everybody that walked through my door that day just assumed that she may wanted her body pillaged? 3, on the death of a person for whom a consent was given under this section, the consent is binding and is subject to section 6, full authority for the use of the body or for the removal and use of the specific parts for the purpose specified. 4, despite subsection 3, a person must not act on a consent given under this section if the person has actual knowledge of an objection, as if he may or she may know that there's an objection in there, but if they're getting paid to forget that objection, what do you think's going to happen? To it by the person for whom the consent was given, or by a person of the same or closer relationship to the person for whom the consent was given than the person who gave the consent. Talk about regurgitating. 5, in subsection 1, person lawfully in possession of a body does not include A, the supervising coroner or a coroner in possession of the body under the Coroners Act. Now, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Yaman, Yaman. Here we go. Here we go. Yaman, Yaman. Because as soon as we get into the Coroners Act, people, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read that at some point. I don't know when, but, you know, there was an investigation going on with my daughter, right? So the coroner should have been involved right from the beginning, okay? The supervising coroner or a coroner in possession, who had possession of my daughter's body? I guess that's the question of the day, huh? Was it the police? Was it the hospital? Was it the paramedics? Or was it the coroner? Like, literally, who had possession of my daughter's body? I like to fucking know. B, the public guardian. Did I not say that? The Patient Property Act, the Power of Attorney Act, the Public Guardian and Trustee Act, right? There's a couple more in there, okay? I just can't think of them off the top of my head, right? The supervising coroner, okay, the public guardian and trustee in possession of the body for its burial under the Public Guardian and Trustee Act. Well, Shimei didn't have no assets, so they weren't involved. But if Shimei would have been an Uncle John with that inheritance money, and if whoever tried to put their fingers into Uncle John's money wasn't a union member that had been working in the province for 45 fucking years, right? You know, just some Joe Blow, right? You know, just right, dad died, and you know, and but the public guardian trustee knows that family can't fight for dad. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to court fighting for their parents. Public guardian and trustee, namely, is about money. They're going for the money and the assets. C, an embalmer. I'm listening to myself. I'm not supposed to listen to myself. An embalmer or funeral director in possession of a body for its burial, cremation, and other disposition. Or D, the superintendent of crematorium in possession of the body for its cremation. So who had possession of my daughter's body? Coroner's direction. 6, if, in the opinion of a medical practitioner, the death of a person is imminent by reason of injury or disease, and the medical practitioner has reason to believe that Section 2, 3, or 4 in the Coroner's Act, yeah, man, may apply when death does occur and a consent under this part has been obtained for a post-mortem transplant. Post-mortem transplant, what does that mean? Of tissue from the body, a coroner having jurisdiction, even though that death has not yet occurred, may give directions the medical practitioner thinks proper for the removal of that tissue after the death of the person, and every direction given has the same effect as if had been made after death under Section 13 of the Coroner's Act. Well, damn, let's see what happens when we go into the Coroner's Act. Huh? There. Now we're at the Coroner's Act. Can you see that? Let's see what happens. There we go. Easy. Easy as pie. See, this is why I wanted to try this live stream, because it seems to be a little more fluent. However, I can't seem to get a video running with the sound in the background yet, but I'm not going to fuss with that today. I want to go see what number 13 has to say. What are we looking at? Post-mortem. Here we go. Post-mortem examinations and analyses. 13.1. At any time during an investigation, a coroner may authorize a medical practitioner or any other qualified person to do one or more of the following. A post-mortem examination with or without dissection of the body. You see, they refused to do it with Shimei. They put their feet in with Shimei. They balked at it, people. And when it came time to fucking do it, after it was all said and done, coroner called me up and said, time to come pick up the body. This was like 2 weeks after Shimei died. And I said, oh, okay, so the autopsy was done. No, there was no autopsy. I'm like, what do you mean there was no? No, you go pick up the body. Got into a great big fucking argument with her, people. And then Okay, well, sure, but you realize cops aren't going to be there. You know, technically they should though, because it's a so-called investigation. Because the cops listed it down as they were investigating, and because they were investigating the death of Shimei, they were by law obligated to be there for the autopsy. But by the time it came time to autopsy her, there was nothing left to autopsy people. And that's why when the cops showed up and had me sign a piece of paper that should have been signed at the hospital by me, right? They came to my door. I signed it, didn't date it. I should have got a copy. I should have got it dated. But besides that point, what they did is they reassured me that they were going to test her body fluids. They weren't going to autopsy because she was going into the autopsy with the original body fluids that she had. The first set that they supposedly got out of her. And you can see how easily I'm getting upset here for the ones that are watching, right? Like, this isn't easy crap, man, because they send you from legislative act to legislative act. Then you get into your rules. Then you get into your fucking regulations. And then you get into your mandates, right? And they stockpile them up. By the time I'm done all this, people, I'm going to be talking like probably 4 or 5, 6, 7 different freaking acts, statutes, laws. Which at the end of the day is going to mean nothing. Like it meant nothing with Uncle John. Right? Because you're going up against people that, one, know what they're doing when it comes to, following the court rules. That's the first one, right? Okay, let's just carry on here. Yeah, man. Where was I? (13B), an analyst of the blood, urine, or contents of the stomach, intestine. They said blood. Any results that they got from Shimei was from blood. See, any other examination or analyst the coroner considers necessary for the purpose of the investigation. Now, you see, this is where the coroner lied to me, people. When I read that coroner lied to me because she put the whole onus on the police to do the investigation, and she couldn't really move forward until it was determined as to what they wanted to do. She passed the buck. That's what she did. Two, a medical practitioner or qualified person must comply with any terms of the authorization given under subsection 1. 3, a person who performs a post-mortem examination must promptly report his or her findings in writing to the coroner who authorized the post-mortem examination. So I guess it was the coroner who authorized it, not the police. The police were just required to be there, but they weren't there, people, because again, they only tested her blood. And I've said this before, how do we know that was Shimei's blood? They never did a DNA test on her, I'm sure, right? And, like they didn't want to test for anything. They didn't want to test to see if she was poisoned, nothing. I asked them to test to see if she was poisoned. They refused to do it, people. I asked them to test her hair to see if she was poisoned, people. They refused to do it, people. But that's the only thing that they tested when they did their autopsy. A person who performs any examination or analysis under subsection 1B or C. Oh, there we go. A, B, 1C. Now, 200, A, B, C, D, I, F, O, S, T. And you're expected to remember every section with every subsection in your mind as you hand this stuff forward to a court. Like I said, I'm going to have to write 2 sets of lawsuits. One for me with the long way, copy and paste, put that in, and then just narrow it down to, well, under subsection, whatever it was, 13, 1, A, B, C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, B, blah, 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 blah. I'm already getting mad, people. I'm already getting mad, and I haven't even started. Yeah, man. 4, a person who performs any examination or analysis under subsection 1B or C must promptly report his or her findings in writing to the coroner who authorized the examination or analysis and to the person who performed the post-mortem examination. 5, for the purpose of carrying out an examination or analysis under this section and establishing the cause of death, a coroner may order the removal of a body to and from a place. 6, they told me to come pick up my daughter's body after being in cold storage for 2 weeks. Just rub it in my face with salt, right? 6, a person who performs any examination or analysis under this section, A, may keep a body until the examination or analysis is complete, and B, must not dispose of the body without approval from the coroner. Just toss him out like yesterday's garbage, people. Unless, of course, you want to put them on display with their poses. Right? Because we got that going on now. If it's not spirit cooking, it's what is it called? Cadaver sports. Right? I'll pull that up another day. Okay? Because it seems to be a big thing with BC. Right? Yeah, man. So anyway, I'll have to read all this. This is where it gets rough on me because of my eyes. And I like to have my references, especially when I'm working in War Room 1. In other words, what I'm trying to say is I have to print this out, which costs me money in paper and ink. And then I have to put them in a binder so that when I'm going through these acts, people, what happens? Hold on a minute. When I'm going through these acts, hold on. When I'm going through these acts, what happens is you have to cross-reference them in order to be able to, one, understand them and find out where your story fits in with them. And if you go into it blind, it's not so bad because, you're thinking you live in a society where there will be justice. But it's like back in the old days in the dungeons. Yeah, right? Yeah, man. With those white dudes with their gray white hair, their paper white hair, right? With the curls, and they're all sitting around in their fucking dungeon, and they're looking at you like you're some damn witch, right? That's kind of how it is, people. That's kind of how it is. Seriously, that's kind of how it is. How long we've been doing this? For an hour and 23 minutes. Boy, oh boy, it can go pretty fast. Pretty fast. Here. Let me put this up. So, if you're interested in this kind of stuff for yourself, right, in terms of, regardless of where you live, you're going to be able to find similar legislation. It may not read like this, it may not look like this, but it will be written somewhere. So that's it. Now, yeah, man, on the learning curve. Yeah, man. Peace out, man. Hold on a minute. Let me just wait and see. We'll do one more thing here. You don't hear nothing, right? Probably not. Or do you? Well, I kind of hear something. Do you hear my son? Well, I don't think you heard that. I don't think you heard that. All right. Let me try one other thing here. Just for fun. And then I'm going to stop because I'm tired. Ugh. And the onions layer for deep time consuming. Yeah. Onion layers. Yeah, man. Onion layers. That's about it. Hey. Oh my God. Oh. Here, let's try something. Let's see. Where are we? All right. So, can you hear me still talking in the background, or do I have to stop that? All right. So, yeah, you need more than one to make it like a little better. It would just be better for me to maybe bring out Shimei's laptop or something like that. Well, we got it going backwards here. Right, because I'm having to flip through my pages, but I think all in all, this one worked out a little smoother than what I was trying to do today outside of the flashing. Right, this flashing, it's coming in with the bandwidth. I heard you. I heard you. The box you pulled up is black. That was my son. You heard me, or did you hear my son talking? But I just brought up another video, and if you turn it on, because what it does is it's attaching itself right onto the video on the server. If I bring it up from the computer and try and play the video on my computer, it's not reading. But if I go into my YouTube or video, any video, like I went on to the actual government website and I pulled up their legislation, it does that. So considering everything, I've been online now for what, how long now? 91 minutes ago. It was much easier than what I went and struggled with. Okay, because my big issue. I can do this one again. It's still screening. So if I go like this, do you see? And then if I turn it on, because it's on the server now.
I'm just getting some milk.
Let me just.
I just want to let you know, okay? Actually, there's one.
You should hear it in a minute. I should even be able to move this. This is what I was looking for. There. That's what I was trying to do earlier today with XSplit, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get it to work. Right? But now, gone on live flashes like it wants to put a box in. I have terrible connection. Here's no, it's flashing. It's flashing. It has something to do with the bandwidth. So I can leave that up there. Turn that off. This is, I'll tell you, okay. From what I gather, based on my experience with trying to do these live streams, before, back in the day, they started changing the what do you call it? Before they started changing over their format for uploading, you could upload through a link on YouTube directly from the little, camera, right? Versus doing it through Google Hangouts. Okay. And when I did it that way, because my what is it called? My upload, comes in with so much energy, right? When it goes into the server, for whatever reason, it wasn't being processed properly. And I was getting a lot of flashing. Okay. And then, but with the XSplit, you're coming in differently. You're coming in, this is a third party. You allow them to come onto your channel and run your stream for you, right? You have to, I guess, establish a little bit of level of trust there, because they have access to your YouTube account, right? From my understanding. But that's the only way, unless I maybe go out and either one, build your own server and provide your own server to upload your own videos, which some people do in terms of live streams. Or I don't know if you can buy a program for that specifically either, or it's probably still going to have to go through a third party, right? Whereas before it used to go directly up through YouTube through the little webcam. You had two choices. You either could do it through an encoder, which is a third party server, or you could do it through the webcam. I found that when I did it through the webcam, I was getting a lot of flashing. But then even XSplit, they have internal settings in there to help you to gauge how much bandwidth is being sucked up or whatever, sent out or whatever before it goes through the process of being rediverted to go back up to YouTube. This particular StreamYard, they're supposed to take care of this problem, from my understanding, right there at their servers before it even goes up to YouTube. So why this is happening, I don't know, right? But we're not going to let it stop us, because I think all in all, what I read gets people thinking. It puts them on the learning curve. And it's a reminder that, for anyone interested in this stuff, they need to just go look it up in their own state and start figuring out where things are applicable to them, right? And their families and their communities, right? So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that now. I pretty much got what I wanted in terms of to see one, if I could do it. And I did. The only difference between the two of them, and I'm still going to keep XSplit, because that one, I noticed there's more freedom to add in They do it differently, right? This one here, I can see why it would be easy to start bringing in other people to participate with you, because what's happening is you can go right onto their YouTube channel and somehow link them in as their, I don't know how it's going to work, but where with XSplit, it's more like you import whatever it is that you want to bring up onto your screens, and you have 4 screens, unless of course maybe you want to get a premier, then you maybe get more you get maybe more features, but I'm just with the basics, right? So I get 4 different screens that you can import either videos, or you can import what is it called, GIFs, that kind of stuff, right? But it comes in off of your computer. I haven't been able to link anything successfully from YouTube, but then it's not like I really tried, where this one is more specific to link things that are actually online. The Corners Act, right? The that Tissue Act, that was directly, those are actual, the government up-to-date legislation that's applicable for the province of British Columbia, Canada. Obviously, you've seen the video, this one right here. I can turn it on, put the volume back on, and I'll just shut up. There you go. But again, I think in terms of switching between the pages, because I'm really only active on 4 pages, but I'm using 1 computer screen, where it would probably be better if I had 2 computer screens, because then I can just monitor one as I'm doing work on another, right? So I think all in all, that was pretty successful in terms of on learning curve. So I'm going to exit out now, and we will try it another day. Yaman.